Authority figures rely on a simple binary. You either bow to their power or fight it. Both choices confirm that they control the room. True power inversion happens when you refuse both traps. By adopting an unbothered, evaluative baseline, you neutralize aggressive dominance without firing a single shot. Status inversion is the art of subtle authority reversal. In this masterclass, learn how to deploy the Evaluator frame, master unhurried tonality, weaponize high-status silence, and steer high-power dynamics while leaving their official titles intact. The Evaluator frame completely reverses this expectation by positioning you not as someone pleading a case, but as a calm, objective judge assessing the situation. Instead of displaying eager compliance or defensive anxiety, you maintain a poised, analytical demeanor. You listen attentively, process their statements without immediate reaction, and respond with thoughtful, measured feedback. This subtle shift in posture alters the entire psychological climate of the room, sensing the burden of validation entirely onto their shoulders. When people feel intimidated by authority, their physiology betrays them. Their pitch rises, speech accelerates, and movements become hurried. Unhurried tonality is the deliberate calibration of vocal resonance, physical stillness, and slow speech cadences to command space. By speaking slightly slower than the room's ambient tempo and lowering your vocal register, you signal complete internal control and zero fear. You take deliberate pauses before answering high-pressure questions, demonstrating that your thoughts cannot be rushed by external dominance. Forced to slow down to match your composed rhythm, the authority figure's aggressive momentum dissipates, granting you baseline control over the room's energy. Authority figures often use sharp commands or aggressive statements to provoke submissive explanations from others. The high-status silence neutralizes this tactic by offering zero immediate verbal payload in response to a power play. When met with an aggressive stance or unreasonable demand, you maintain relaxed eye contact, hold a neutral expression, and remain completely silent for 2 to 3 seconds. Unaccustomed to unyielding silence, the dominant figure's ego fills the void by softening their stance, rephrasing their point, or over-explaining their reasoning. By holding comfortable silence, you force the authority figure to negotiate against themselves. Directly rejecting a boss or high-status client triggers an ego battle you are structured to lose. Frame hijacking avoids direct friction by taking their aggressive demand, stripping away the hostile frame, and representing it as a mutual strategic decision. You validate their underlying objective while subtly shifting the execution parameters. You align yourself with their authority while quietly taking the wheel. Because you never directly challenge their dominance, their ego remains unthreatened. They accept your modified direction enthusiastically, believing they are simply approving a high-level refinement of their own original directive. People in positions of power are surrounded by yes-men whose praise means nothing because it is freely given. Selective validation. Because your validation is rare and hard-earned, it carries immense value. The high-power individual quickly picks up on this dynamic and subconsciously begins seeking your sign-off during key moments of the interaction, effectively granting you emotional veto power over the discussion. The ultimate mastery of status inversion is executing complete functional control of an environment while allowing the formal leader to retain all the visible perks, titles, and public glory. The authority pivot is not a public coup, it is a quiet transition of operational gravity. Once you have established the evaluator frame, anchored your unhurried tone, and mastered selective validation, you become the calm, stabilizing center of gravity in any high-stakes room. When complex decisions arise, the room naturally turns to you for clarity, direction, and strategy. You provide precise, non-ego-driven solutions, framing them in a way that allows the official authority figure to present them as their own overarching vision. The formal leader begins relying heavily on your strategic composure to navigate high-risk moments, effectively delegating operational dominance to you. They hold the title, wear the status, and take the public bow, but you dictate the strategy, control the execution subtly. By insulating their pride while seizing the practical levers of decision-making, you operate from a position of absolute immunity, dominating the dynamic completely without ever giving them a reason to fight back.